Okay, so we're underway with the recording. So very, very warm welcome to all of the parents and some little people I can see as well that have joined us this evening. Some familiar faces, parents that have been with Burraton for a year or two or more, and some brand new parents as well. Very, very exciting to welcome you all. We're delighted to see you all. And on that note, thank you too to parents for choosing Burraton. I know for the second year running, it's been a little tricky in terms of visiting schools and making your choice. So we do appreciate the fact that you've put your trust in us and you're putting the care of your most precious little person into our hands at Burraton. And we do promise you we will do everything we can to help you and your little people be safe and happy and to thrive at Burraton. So I am going to share a presentation with you. When I come out of this screen, I'm not going to be able to see you anymore. All I'll be able to see is the presentation. But if at any point you had a question that you would like to ask, you can either type it into the question box, the little speech bubble at the bottom, as I said, or you could raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon at the bottom of the screen. And then one of the staff team that have joined with us this evening will shout and I will stop the presentation and will answer your question. I will be introducing you to our team in just a moment, but for now I'm going to get this presentation underway. Okay, so your little people are coming to Burraton, very excited. I know how you as parents are feeling. It was a long time ago now, it's like I was telling some children in school today, I'm quite a dinosaur actually when it comes to little people now, but my own little people went to Burraton. They were Burraton boys many years ago. Oliver there on the left and Alice there on the right. They're all grown up now. Oliver's practicing medicine in London and Alistair's at university in Bristol. So they are all big and grown up and have hairy faces and all those sorts of things. But I still remember how I felt when my little boys were starting school. And I know that you'll be feeling the same with those excited feelings, a bit anxious, a little bit sad in some ways because your little baby is growing up and starting big school. Oh, I'm just stopping because I think somebody needs to come into the meeting. Yeah. And I know it's a scary and exciting time. Exciting for little people, probably more scary for parents. But just to reassure you that I know exactly how you're feeling, all those thoughts and fears and dreams and hopes that you're sitting there with right now. Okay, so little introduction to the team at Burraton. Sorry, every time you hear a ping pong like that, it's somebody wanting to join the meeting and I need to come out of one area and go into the other. So who's who? So I'm Lisa Tamblin, head teacher. Our deputy head teacher at school is Mr. Woolner. There's a lovely picture of him there, as you can see, Mr. Darren Woolner. And then we have two assistant head teachers in school. We have Mrs. Carvell, who will be sharing this meeting with me this evening, and also Mrs. Mallon, who heads up Key Stage 2 as assistant head as well. And then Mrs. Langmead is our SENCO. If you're not familiar with these acronyms, do ask. There's a lot of acronyms in education. A SENCO is a Special Educational Needs and Disability Coordinator. So Mrs. Langmead is our champion for those children that may have some additional needs. And then Mrs. Langley there at the bottom, she's our PSA, that's a Parent Support Advisor. So her role in school is specifically around supporting parents, helping you with anything that you might need help with. Basically, she's there on the end of the phone, and when there aren't so many COVID restrictions around, she's there in school with a cup of tea waiting for you if you need to come in and have a little chat, you want to find out anything at all. Okay, so that's our core team that I'm sharing with you this evening in terms of your little one starting school in September. These are the key people that you'll need to know straight away, as well as the early years team, of course, who I'll introduce you to in a moment. But I'm sure as your little one grows up, you will become familiar with all of the other teachers and support staff that we have in the school. So our team in early years consists of Mrs. Carvel, who is the head of early years. She's also an assistant head teacher, as I've just told you, and Miss Prideaux as well. I wonder, Miss Prideaux, if you would just like to say hello a minute, just to introduce yourself, that would be fab.
Hello everybody, it's so lovely to see so many little faces on the screen this evening. I cannot say how excited I am to meet you all. It's going to be a really, really lovely moment when we finally get to meet in person. And I hope that we are going to have lots and lots of fun this year. I can promise you that.
Lovely, thank you, Miss Prideaux. You'll hear from Mrs. Carvel in a moment, because as I said, she's going to be sharing the meeting with me. And then we've got 3 support assistants in early years as well. We've got Mrs. Bofi and Mrs. Bloodworth, neither of whom were able to join us this evening, unfortunately. But we have got Mrs. Clark with us this evening, who is also one of our wonderful members of the support team in early years. So I wonder, Mrs. Clark, if you would just like to introduce yourself.
Certainly can. Hi everybody, I'm Mrs. Clark and I work in Tamar class with Miss Prideaux, and as she said, I am super excited to meet everybody and looking forward to September when we can all start your exciting journey together.
Thank you, Mrs. Clark. And on to a very important member of the team at Burriton, and I know the little people watching this evening will be excited to meet Bramble. Bramble is our specialist school assistance dog. She's a 2-year-old black Labrador. She's on a 3-year training course. So obviously if she's only 2, she's still got 1 year of training to go. So very specialist in her role. She's being supported and trained by a group called K9 Supporting Children. She has to undergo regular assessments to make sure that she is of a perfect temperament and she is meeting the expectations in terms of her training. She's wonderful to have around school. It's teaching children about respect and care and responsibility. She's a non-judgmental reading partner. She's beginning now to learn how to support children that might be distressed or anxious, supporting children with mental health challenges and difficulties. And ultimately in her 3rd year of training, we're hoping that she'll be able to start supporting children in our area resource base, which is attached to the school and caters for children with severe and complex needs. So we're very delighted to have a dog of Bramble's quality in school supporting the whole team. Okay, so I'm sure as parents you've been wondering, well, if we send our children to Burriton, what are we actually getting? We haven't had a chance to visit, we haven't had a chance to see the classrooms, we haven't had a talk to the staff. So I'm just going to very quickly share with you just an overview of things that hopefully you can look forward to as your little one grows up in school. So in terms of what you're getting with teaching and learning, you're getting a passionate, fun-loving, happy team who place children at the centre of everything that they do and support children, keep them safe and do everything that they can to provide the very best outcomes and life chances for children. We work hard with our environments in school. We set up our school so the environment is the second teacher in the classroom. Children are taught not always to talk to the adult, but to be independent and support their own learning. Again, a really important lifelong skill. I'm just going to mute somebody here. Some feedback. Okay, that's better. Children are out and about. We love to have children outside learning. If you change the context of learning and take the learning outside, learning becomes more meaningful and real and memorable. So we do like to get our children outside learning as much as possible. And oh yes, some children blowing their instruments, and I just popped in that one up with the Chromebook. So I just wanted to mention that we are a Google-based school, so we work on Chromebooks, which means that sharing and collaborating of learning outcomes is very easily managed. A few more children there. We love to have visitors in to help bring learning to life. We love going out and visiting other places. And I put the picture of the wellies in just as a message really that our early years children need their wellies in school, they need their overalls in school. We do get them out whatever the weather, and if they come home with muddy feet and muddy clothes, then I think that's made for a good happy day. So we do work hard at developing lifelong learners in school. It's not just about what happens between 8:30 and 3 o'clock on any learning day and learning the number bonds and the number facts. It's about developing those skills and dispositions and attitudes in children that they can carry with them through life. So integral to our curriculum, not as an add-on, but integral, is the work that we do around building learning muscles. We talk to children about their learning muscles and how they need to be exercised and stretched, just like any other muscle. And that includes things like resilience and perseverance and collaboration and managing distractions, absorption, some of them there on the tree for you to see. And it's everything that we do is focused on helping to build those dispositions so they become really deeply embedded within children and they can carry them through life. Our approach to behaviour in school is based on the golden respects. There are 5 golden respects, and that's about respecting learning, respecting the environment, respecting other learners. Speaking of respect, as well. I'm just going to mute this one again. Okay. We have a growth mindset in school associated with the learning pit. So our children are taught that for learning to be real and profound and challenging, sometimes you have to struggle. If learning is too easy all the time and you don't need to think and you're not challenged, actually you're not moving forward, you're not stretching those learning muscles, you aren't learning new things. So we talk to children about getting stuck in the learning pit and then having to find that resilience and that strength to struggle a little bit and maybe with some support get yourself out of that pit. And that's when the profound learning really happens. And we also talk to our children about the 6 Bs. I've already mentioned about children being taught to be independent and not always go straight to the teacher or straight to the adult for help. The 6 Bs are tools that children can use to help them be independent. Things like go back and look in your book, look on the board, or talk to your buddy, or backtrack, things like that. So building that independence and resilience in our children as learners in everything that we do. Okay. What are you getting in terms of parent support? Well, I've mentioned Mrs. Langley, who's there at the end of the line at any time of the day to talk to you. We have an open door policy in school, so that means difficult with an open door during COVID, but let's assume that all the restrictions end in September. An open door policy means that if you have a worry, however small that might be, or a question or a concern, or just something that you would like to share, we want to hear about it. So you can ring us up, you can send us a message, you can make an appointment, you can talk to the adults on the door in the morning. It means that our ears are open and available to you all of the time. We have training sessions in school and visits to classrooms for parents. So once your child is in school, again, COVID permitting, you will be invited in to sit in on a phonics session with the early years teachers, and you'll be invited along to a phonics and early reading parents' evening in the evening, so that you know exactly how we do things in school, which means you can support your children in the best way possible, and other training sessions as your children grow and you move through the school. So we have training sessions for parents in things like maths and reading for the older children and building learning muscles, which I've just talked about. We see our relationship with parents as absolutely key to the happiness and success of our children. And if we can get the relationship right between parents and school, then that's when we get the very best outcomes for our children. We have open and committed communication with our parents through all sorts of different means. So early years will have something called Tapestry, whereby they will be sharing what your child is doing in school with you. Mrs. Carvel will talk a little bit more about that later on, and you're able to share things with us through Tapestry in terms of what your child is achieving and what you're proud of. Every parent will be given a Dojo account, so that's like an instant messaging account, so you can message your class teacher with any questions, worries, concerns or clarification. Every fortnight, Friday fortnight, we send out a school newsletter to keep you up to date with all that's going on and to give you key dates for things that are happening. We have a Facebook page where we share the glad tidings and all the exciting things that are happening in school. Each half term, your child will receive a little progress report in terms of how they're doing behaviour-wise and in terms of progress. And then twice a year, we'll have learner reviews where you're invited in with your child to sit with the class teacher and have a review of how your child is getting on as a learner. And then in the summer term, a full written report. So lots of communication to keep you up to date, really, with everything that's happening. As I said, we've got Mrs. Langley, who is our dedicated parent support advisor, and we've got that very highly skilled SEND team in school to support parents of children with additional needs. Oh, and to mention Before and Later Club is our wraparound care. So for those of you that may be working parents or just parents that think, actually, I'd like my child to have some wraparound care, we do run our Before and Later Club that starts at 7:30 in the morning and runs through until school starts. At the beginning of the day, children are taken off to learning, and then at the end of the day, Later Club runs until 6 o'clock. If you did want more details about that, if you just phone the office, speak to Mrs. Jones or Mrs. Mansfield, and they will give you all the necessary information. And what are you getting in terms of community? We are a community school. We work hard to be part of the community and to support the community as well where we can. So a few little pictures there just to indicate some of the things we get up to. That's Sir Ronald Fiennes at the bottom of the picture, obviously an explorer, and he's done some lovely work supporting our Year 1 children in the past, whereby he Skyped into them and shared his adventures of all of his explorations. Very exciting. Picture up in the right-hand corner, that was our link with a school in New Delhi. And unfortunately, we haven't got that link with that school at the moment, but we're working really hard to find another school because we think it's really, really valuable for our children at Burraton to have that cultural experience of children in schools far away. And what are you getting in terms of adventure? We love adventure at Burraton. As I said, we get our children out and we take risks, sensible risks, not silly risks, sensible risks to challenge children and to stretch themselves. So we go to London and we have activity days, and picture in the right-hand corner there, that was our current early years children out at Wembury last week, which was a really adventurous day for them. It was very lovely. So in terms of safeguarding, I know this sits at the centre of all parents' thoughts, is my child safe? Just to reassure you, safeguarding sits at the centre of everything that we do at Burraton. Our priority is to keep children safe. So we haven't had an Ofsted inspection since 2018. We'll be due one, I think, within the next couple of years or so. But our last Ofsted report in 2018 said that leaders have created a culture where safeguarding is central to all the school's activities. Processes are well established to record and monitor any safeguarding concerns and also to analyse any patterns or trends over time. We are always outward looking. We're always working at self-improvement and trying to be the best we possibly can. So just recently, we did commission an external safeguarding audit. It was done in May by somebody called Helen Trelease, who's an independent auditor. And as you can see, she says she considers the school to be in a strong position regarding safeguarding. The school is reflective and able to demonstrate good practice across all key areas of safeguarding that were explored as this part of this review. So let's pick up on Ofsted a little bit. Like I said, they haven't been with us since 2018. Schools are normally done every 3 to 4 years. COVID has got in the way a little bit of school inspections. But when they did come to us in 2018, they were extremely positive about the school and recognised that leaders are aspirational for pupils. The procedures to improve the quality of teaching are personalised and effective. There's a clear focus on behaviour and personal development, which has resulted in pupils who behave well and have a good attitude to learning. Pupils say they enjoy the school. They participate enthusiastically in lessons, and leaders have created a culture where safeguarding is central to all the school's activities. They talked about staff managing the playgrounds well, and that is enabling children to feel safe. Pupils are confident that if they have any concerns, an adult will help them. E-safety is a high priority for the school. Consequently, teachers ensure that pupils know how to use the internet safely. Teachers and leaders deal well with the rare occurrences of bullying. Pupils understand what bullying is and they know what to do should it happen. Leaders plan carefully for children's transitions to school, and early years assessments identify children's starting points, and children learn well. Both boys and girls are able to sustain concentration on learning tasks. Teachers ensure that learning is intriguing for the children. And some of you might know that in the last set of Key Stage 2 data was generated in summer 2019. Obviously, we didn't do any last summer because of COVID, and the results from our last Key Stage 2 national assessments did result in the Education Minister, Gavin Williamson, sending a letter to the school congratulating us on the fact that our children were in the top 3% of schools nationally in terms of their progress. So we were very proud of our children at that point. Okay, so it's great to know what Ofsted says, but actually what's more interesting is what do our children say? What do our children think of Burriton? We conference our children every half term in school, and we talk to them about their learning, and we talk to them about safeguarding, we talk to them about what's going well in their lives and what they would like to see different in school. So these are the sorts of things our children say when we conference them. You can rely on all the adults in school to help you. We feel safe, it's a happy school. Our learning is exciting and fun. We do things now that we couldn't do before. Learning is new every day. We give our school 10 out of 10. We're really happy. I feel proud to be at Burriton School. It's a really good school. We're doing well. The teaching and our progress are very good. We have opportunities to do new things that we want to try. Our learning is perfect. I am proud. It's the healthiest, best school there is, the most welcome school you could find. Last summer, when we were in lockdown, we did make an early years film for parents of children who were starting last September. We've put that film on our school website. I've put the link there for you. If you go onto our website and you find the parent tab, at the bottom of the list that pops up, there is the EYFS transition film. So in the absence of a visit to the school at the moment, you may like to share this film with your little person, because it does visit the classrooms and it looks at where the cloakrooms are and where to hang your coat and all those very important things that children will be wondering about. So that is there for you if you would like to watch it. I'm not going to share it now because it's about 10 minutes long, and that's a little bit long to sit and watch it now. Okay, so that brings me to the end of my bit of this meeting. In a minute, I am going to hand over to Mrs. Carvel. But just to reiterate, really, I know exactly how you're feeling as parents. The team know exactly how you're feeling as parents. The team have been in early years for several years now and have welcomed and supported and nurtured many new children into school at 4 years old, just turned 5. And their parents as well. If you've got concerns or questions or worries, we want to know about it. And please believe me when I say that no worry is ever too small to come and talk to us about. The last thing we want is parents sitting at home with a little worry, but thinking, oh, I don't want to bother the school, it's not that important. If it's a concern to you, then it's a concern to us as well. We are here to help. We're here to support your children, but we're also here to support you as families as well. So no worry or concern is too small. We want to help, so do let us know about it. Okay, so moving on then to Mrs. Carvel, who'll pick up from here in a moment. So Mrs. Carvel, as I said, is one of our assistant head teachers. She's the early years leader and also the nursery leader. Our nursery is opening in September, and we're very, very excited about that. And Mrs. Carvel is also a specialist leader in education with particular focus on early years and phonics. So you are in very good hands, and I am going to hand over to Mrs. Carvel now.
Well, hello everybody. It's an absolute pleasure to see you all. I have to say, you're looking at the screen of a very professional picture compared to the previous one, with me there dressed in my dressing gown and my pajamas. That's the sort of fun things you've got to look forward to with early years. That's our bedtime stories that we have with our children around Christmas time. So we do have lots of fun. So it's really lovely to be able to welcome you to the school. As others have said, we have the best team, and also I have to say, I think we have the best job in the school. It is such a privilege starting a child off on their school learning journey. We're in school for such a long time, and it's such a privilege for us as the whole team to know that you're putting your child into our capable hands and to help them flourish. And this is the best year, because my goodness me, the progress that they're going to make in this magical first year in school, they're going to make new friends, they're going to have new experiences, they're going to learn what it's like to do PE and have a uniform every day and get themselves changed and organised. They're going to learn to read, to write. It's a really magical year and a really special time. But I would also reiterate, any questions, please do ask us. The team are absolutely incredible, and we're all really excited about welcoming a new cohort of children to Burton School. Okay, next slide, please. I feel like Chris Whitty on the BBC News giving slides. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a very little bit of information about what happens once your child starts school. And actually, starting school isn't as different as you might think. So the early years curriculum goes from 0 to 5. So what we do in your child's reception year is very much a continuation of all the brilliant work and learning that's gone on in preschools and nursery settings to date. So children don't actually begin the national curriculum until they reach year 1. So the way that we learn is very play-based. There's lots of exploratory play. We challenge the children to think and to reflect, but our learning is very, very active. You'll know yourselves, it's very hard to get little people to sit for a very long period of time. So we're up, busy and being active with our learning. Also, the subjects that we learn are very similar again to preschools and to nurseries. And our early years learning is based in 2 different parts. We've got these prime areas of learning, which you can see on the screen, and specific areas of learning. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the prime areas because they're really, really important. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so on these slides, I'm not going to talk through the different points on here, but I have put some ideas down of things that you can do at home to help your child be ready for starting school in September. So this presentation will go onto our school website, so you can look back at these at your leisure at another time. But communication and language is a really important part of our curriculum. And it's really important your children learn to communicate their wants and needs and can express their feelings. We want them to be able to talk to us about how they're feeling. And if they need something, they need to be able to ask us. So that's really important for us. And our early days in particular will be about developing those skills with our children in school. Okay, next slide, please. Physical development is also really, really important. Starting school is so exciting. And one of the big memories I have of when I started school, in fact, probably the only memory, was going into the school hall and using the large apparatus. I don't know if any of you have those memories, because the large apparatus looks quite exciting. And that's one of the first things that we do, in fact, in our PE lessons. So we love being active, and we do ask our children to challenge themselves, to climb, to explore, and to develop their coordination and their strength. Also, in addition to their PE, we also teach them to develop their fine coordination. So that's like learning to hold scissors correctly and to be able to cut safely, to be able to hold a pencil, to be able to peg correctly. So those skills, those big body movement skills, and also their small movement skills will be a focus for us, much as it is in preschools and nurseries in those early days in the autumn term. Okay, next slide, please. And perhaps one of the most important areas that there is developing a child's personal, social and emotional development. This is all about your child being able to settle into school, to learn to make friends, take turns, respect differences and learn to manage if there's a difference of opinion. So in those early days when your child starts school, that's what our focus is going to be upon. All of the adult team will be helping the children to make those friends. At Burton, our children come from many, many different preschools and nurseries and childminders. from all over the whole of South East Cornwall and from Plymouth. So there are some children who won't necessarily know anybody when they start school at Burton. And so our focus is very much about helping people to settle in, help make some of those friendships, and learn, even learning people's names and being able to start a conversation is really, really important. So our focus is very much on settling the children in and making sure that their well-being is well supported when they come into school. Okay. So besides that, we have these other areas of learning. Each day your child will have a literacy session. So we call that Read, Write, Ink in School. And we will begin teaching children to learn to read and write from the very earliest days. And I say it's a magical time because very, very quickly you will find that your child will be able to read and have a go at writing. It's an incredible period of time. That autumn term, you'll find your child will learn so much. And once the children are settled, Mrs. Tamlin's already said, we invite you into school so you can come and watch us, be a fly on the wall and see how your child is getting on during their lessons, which is really fascinating for parents, I think. But also it's really informative for you to see how we teach children to learn to read and write now, because I guarantee it's probably very different to how you learnt when you were at school. It certainly was from when I started at school, but then I'm probably a lot older than many of you. We'll also have reading books going home. So we have real reading books, and also we have brilliant online platforms that your child will be able to access to. And there will be lots of opportunities for reading and writing across the curriculum through the reception year. It's a really important skill, but our children make tremendous progress. I'm really excited about and passionate about their developments in literacy in the early years. Thank you. Mathematics is also a key area that your child will have every day. There'll be lots of counting. We explore patterns in numbers, shape, measures, length, capacity, weight. All those different areas are explored, and they're explored during daily sessions. The sessions are quite short to start off with, obviously because our children, their priority is about getting busy and being playing, but we make sure that the skills that they learn in maths are within the environment. So even though your child won't necessarily think they're doing maths, they'll be interacting with numbers and embedding their knowledge. And Miss Prideaux also does a really brilliant information session for parents in the autumn term, and she'll talk to you a bit about how we teach maths, because that also is a little bit different to how we would have learned in school ourselves. So that's really helpful for parents, and I think it just helps you to know how you can help your child best at home. Okay. Oh, now this is one of my also favourite areas of learning, understanding the world. So in Cornwall, we live in one of the most beautiful places. I'm sure you'll agree. We're absolutely blessed to have the River Tamar, the beaches, the moors so close to us. But it's very easy for us to appreciate where we are, but we need our children to be open-minded and to explore and learn about other cultures and the diversity of our country, in fact, of our county and our town too, but also the wider world. And our children absolutely love finding out about different places. We really enjoyed our celebrations. We had Chinese New Year. We did that virtually because it was during lockdown, but we all went on a pretend aeroplane and we blasted off and went into the air and went to China together and learned about different cultures. We also celebrate some of the Cornish traditions as well. So we learn about Obios, we learn about St. Piran's Day, and we also learn about the Hindu celebration of Diwali. So having that opportunity to learn about other cultures is really important to us, but also the natural world. And our children absolutely love forest school sessions with Miss Prideaux. We're really lucky that she's a forest school practitioner. And you'll be amazed at our children lighting fires in reception and handling tools, all very safely and very well managed. But it's an exciting time and children learn so much. But being outdoors, I think, is where children learn best most often. Okay. And our last area of learning is expressive arts and design. Also, we're very passionate about this. And when you do get to visit the school, you'll see that we have lovely theatre area and role play areas in our classrooms. The children love to sing and to dance and to play instruments. Sometimes it's very loud for our ears in the classroom, but the children have a tremendous time learning to explore rhythm and pattern, and they're learning to be imaginative and to take on different roles and different characters. And that's often how children learn about other people and other cultures too, by being creative and imaginative. So expressive arts and design is something that we also enjoy in our classrooms. Okay. But that is what our curriculum is. But as Mrs. Tamlin has said, our top priorities are your child's safety and their happiness and well-being. Now, starting school is a really big time, and it feels like a long time ago since my children started school. But I remember I must have had I felt like a list of perhaps 100 questions. There were so many things that I wanted to ask. And as Mrs. Tamlin has said, no question is too small, because I probably asked them myself and have the team. Even little things about what happens if my child needs medicine, or my child has a medical appointment, I need to sort that out. What do I do? Or, for example, I'm a bit worried about my child's friendships, or I'm not sure if they're eating enough at lunch, or even the littlest things. If they have a toilet accident, any of those questions, please do feel free to ask us. We'll happily answer any of those questions, because we want your child to feel as happy and as safe as possible. And that means you guys need to be able to help reinforce those messages. So any questions you have at all, please don't hesitate to ask us. Okay. So being ready, this is where we start that build up, thinking about that readiness for school. I know lots of preschools, sometimes they have school uniforms in their role play areas in preschools and nurseries, so children can try on what it's like putting on a blue Burton uniform. So that might be something your child's doing at preschool or nursery already. So your child will need their school uniform, and the information of that I think you've already received. But in addition to their uniform, and our children look so smart, your child will need a lunch bag if you choose for them to have a home packed lunch. So I'll come on to lunches in a minute. But if you want to provide a lunch from home, then they'll need a named lunch bag. They'll also need a warm coat. Mrs. Tamlin's already mentioned we are out all weathers. So there's no such thing as bad weathers, only bad clothing. So wrapping up nice and warm. And our weather is so changeable, isn't it? So always have a warm coat available. They'll need a book bag, which you can buy. That's really important for us to put communication to you and for you to us. So your child's reading record book, for example, and their books will go in there, and they'll come to and from school and home. We do ask your children not to bring anything in like pencil cases. They don't need any of that. We provide all of that in school, so don't worry about that at all. A water bottle, a clear water bottle, so it can be one that you buy from school, a Burton school water bottle, or a clear, absolutely clear water bottle for which you can buy from home. So, you know, just your typical ones that you can get from the supermarket. Although I have to say they don't tend to be quite so robust as the school ones. They tend to be a thicker plastic, which is always really good for younger children who sometimes drop them. And your child will need their PE kit in a separate PE bag, which will be named. And with PE kits, your children will be placed in a team. So in school, we have 4 house teams, and we'll be letting you know in the coming weeks what colour team your child's going to be in. If you've already got a child at Burton, your child will be in the same colour team. So we have 4 teams, red, yellow, green and blue, and your child will be given a coloured team to belong to. And for PE, they wear a PE t-shirt the same colour as their team. So we'll email you that information in the next week or 2. Also, as Mrs. Tamlin's already said, they do need their welly boots and waterproofs, and we do ask you to leave those in school with us. We have welly boot racks outside our classrooms, which will be named with your child's name, and we do ask for children to leave a set of waterproofs on their peg in the classroom. Of course, by all means, pick them up and take them home at weekends and during the half term and on holidays. But we are in and out all of the time. So we want our children to be well prepared and well dressed for that. Okay, thank you. So a couple of things here. School lunches. Our children in reception year 1 and year 2 are given free school lunches by the government, which is quite nice, isn't it? And you can choose whether you want that to be a school packed lunch, or you can choose a cooked dinner option. And I have to say, school dinners are actually really, really yummy. I had a really nice curry today and ice cream. That was delicious. But this is all free of charge to you. So you can either choose to have the school dinner option, the cooked dinner or the packed lunch option, or you can choose to have a lunch provided from home. So when your child starts school, we'll be sending home a letter for you to register nice and quickly. This is quite important, so you can book your child in for their lunches. The menu is already set, so you'll be able to see what the menu is, and you'll be able to talk to your child about what they want, and then you can book it in advance. So there's always a couple of cooked options. There's usually a vegetarian option. There's also jacket potato options, as well as the different sandwiches and the different fillings. So there's plenty of choices. As I say, school dinners are really good these days. Also, if your child has any allergies, our catering team are absolutely brilliant at working with parents to find what's the suitable allergy appropriate menu for your child. So I hope that if your child has got any allergies, you've already made contact with school and you've already started those discussions. If you've got any concerns about the allergy menu, please do email in and we can see if the allergy menu is something that your child is able to access or not. But any questions about lunches, Mrs. Jones in the office will be able to help you with that. So Mrs. Jones will be the person that you need to speak to. Also, we have free fruit and vegetables delivered every day. That's provided for all of the children in reception year 1 and year 2. That's again funded by the government. So we try all different sorts of things. There's carrots, pears, baby peppers sometimes, strawberries, always a hit, mini cucumbers, they always go down really well. Obviously bananas, satsumas, so different things each day for children to try. So that's a mid-morning snack that's provided. And also, all children under the age of 5 are entitled to free school milk. So in the information pack you've already received, you'll see that there's a letter with information about Cool Milk on it. And if you want your child to have their free milk delivered each day into school, you need to register with Cool Milk for your child. That's not something that we can organise for you. So please, if you want to have milk for your child, then please have a look at that letter and jump onto their website and you can register your child on there. Once your child turns 5, that's the point where they start to charge for milk. So at that point, you can either say, no, thank you, we don't want it anymore, or actually, yes, please, I'll pay just a small amount for the milk for my child. So that's entirely your choice. We do find often in reception, most of our children have free milk, and usually it drops off as people turn 5. So it's something to take up if you want to. Okay, thank you. Okay, starting school is a really big deal, isn't it? And I know it's a bit tricky, isn't it, with COVID at the moment? And I know probably with preschools and nurseries, it's been a case of drop at the door and off you go. So for us, communication is so important. Now, lots of you may already be familiar with Tapestry. It's a brilliant online learning journal where we take photographs and videos of the children learning and playing. And also we send parents messages on there. It might be feedback about some reading that we've done together with your child, and it might have some tips on there about how you can help them. So lots of information is communicated from Tapestry, from us to you. But also it's really exciting for us to know different things that you've been up to at the weekend, in the holidays, achievements of your child. It might be they lost their first tooth, it might be they've learnt to ride their bike, it might be you found some fabulous shell collections at the beach at the weekend, or you've seen a family member who you've not seen for a long time. So anything of interest that you think would be lovely to share with us, please also upload it onto Tapestry. So the information for Tapestry, we've already got your consents come in. Thank you, in the paperwork that you've returned. So we'll be setting up your Tapestry logins probably towards the end of July and asking you to set up your account. So watch out for that email because that will come directly to you from Tapestry. And then we'll get you set up and we'll be able to communicate via that platform together. Thank you. Okay, transitioning into school. Well, this is really strange, isn't it? We were very disappointed with Boris's announcement. It wasn't unexpected, I don't suppose, for anybody, but we were really hoping that he was going to let things open up as we all wish for. But we understand the caution, obviously. So our arrangements for home visits and things, again, this year need to be slightly different to what we would actually hope for. However, these are things that we've got in place at the moment, and there are some extra things that we're going to try and put into place as well if we possibly can. So first of all, in the next week or two, you'll have an email come through asking you to book an appointment with myself or Miss Prideaux. So although we can't come and do a home visit and meet with you one-to-one, which would be preferable, we're asking you to come into school one family at a time, just one parent, unfortunately. And this is just a meeting for adults with the teacher to talk about your child and for you to ask any questions that you have and for us to really get to understand your child's needs, their interests, anything that you're worried about or anything that we can help you with. If you can't come into school during the school day, we'll also be offering the opportunity for a Google Meet like this for a one-to-one session with your child's teacher. So instead of a home visit, we can either meet in person in school or we can do a meeting together. So that's the first thing, and that will be in July. The next thing is that on the 7th of September, you'll know that that's the day on the plan that you will have had in your pack when the children will be invited to come into school in small groups to have a little look around their classroom, a bit of a stay and play session, because we haven't been able to offer the full transition experience that we would like to. However, we are hoping, fingers crossed, that we may have the opportunity to also invite you in July for a stay and play visit, where we have just a very small number of people come in for a short period of time, where we can clean in between different groups of people so your children can get into school. We're very, very keen to try and make sure that happens in July, in addition to the visit on the 7th of September before your children start on either the 8th or the 9th of September. So fingers crossed, we're just waiting for confirmation from the local authority to check that that's what we're able to offer you. But we'll be emailing you that information as soon as we possibly can and to confirm arrangements. For myself and Miss Prideaux, we've also been in contact with the preschools. They've already been passing on some information about your children. So we're so excited to read about their different characters and their interests and their friendships. So your preschools will already be sending us information about your child and how best we can support them as they start school, particularly with what they are really interested in, any topics or toys that we can get out to interest your child, but also things that might help them with their learning too. So those are already in place and already happening. Okay. So I'm just going to take a breather for a moment, and I'm going to hand over to Miss Prideaux in a second. So in early years, we basically have 2 classes, but that's just for registration purposes. So I register Brunel class and Miss Prideaux registers Tamar class. And Miss Clark works with Miss Prideaux generally in Tamar class and Mrs. Bloodworth with myself in Brunel class. However, our children mix freely across the unit. So they come in different doors and they'll come and do their registers with us. And we are the teachers that will be writing the report for your child. But all adults know all of the children. We all interact and support all of the children. They free flow through the day. So if you think in a moment, oh, my child's not with their friend, we have tried really hard to make sure people have been happy based on your friendships that you've sent in to us. But don't worry, because besides walking in that door and doing the register, the children mix throughout the day anyway. And the reason why we do this is because our children come from so many different settings. We don't know at this moment in time what the dynamic will be like of these children. So we work as a unit because we spread our provision across 2 classes and outdoors. And then at the end of the early years, when the children move towards the national curriculum in year 1, then we have a little think and actually decide which classes the children should be in moving forward. So we mix our children up at the end of early years, and those are the classes they stay in through the school. So these are the children. I'm going to hand over to Miss Prideaux, and she's going to call out the names of the children who are going to be registered with Tamar class. So over to you, Miss Prideaux, for a moment.